कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम जय गांधर्विका गिरिधारी गांधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरे जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रील प्रभुपाद युग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्य उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Canto 5, titled The Creative Impetus. Chapter number 8, titled The Character of Bharat Maharaj. Verse number 27. तदानीमपि पार्श्ववर्तिनम् आत्मजम् इवानुशोचन्तम् अभिवीक्ष्यमाणो मृग एवाभिनिवेशितमना विसृज्य लोकम् इमं सह मृगेण कलेवरमृतं मनु न मृत जन्मानुस्मृतिरितरवन् मृग शरीरम अवाप. Translation and purport by his what word meanings? Tadanim, at that time. Api, indeed. Parshva Vartinam, by the side of his deathbed. Atmajam, his own son. Iva, like. Anu Shochantam, lamenting. Abhivikshamaanaha, seeing. Mrige, in the deer. Eva, certainly. Abhiniveshita manaha, his mind was absorbed. Visrijya, giving up. Lokam, world. Imam, this. Saha, with. Mrigena, the deer. Kalevaram, his body. Mritam, died. Anu, thereafter. Na, not. Mrita, destroyed. Janma Anusmritihi, remembrance of the incident before his death. Before his death. Itaravat, like others. Mriga Shariram, the body of a deer. Avapa, got. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. At the time of death, the king saw that the deer was sitting by his side exactly like his own son and was lamenting his death. Actually, the mind of the king was absorbed in the body of the deer, and consequently, like those bereft of Krishna consciousness, he left the world, the deer, and his material body and acquired the body of a deer. However, there was one advantage. Although he lost his human body and received the body of a deer, he did not forget the incidents of his past life. Purport. There was a difference between Bharat Maharaj's acquiring a deer body and others acquiring different bodies according to their mental condition at the time of death. After death, others forget everything that has happened in their past lives. But Bharat Maharaj did not forget. According to Bhagavad Gita, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitah. Whatever state whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Bhagavad Gita 8.6. After quitting his body, a person gets another body according to his mental condition at the time of death. At death, a person always thinks of that subject matter in which he has been engrossed during his life. According to this law, because Bharat Maharaj was always thinking of the deer and forgetting his worship of the Supreme Lord, he acquired the body of a deer. However, due to his having been elevated to the topmost platform of devotional service, he did not forget the incidents of his past life. This special benediction saved him from further deterioration. Due to his past activities in devotional service, he became determined to finish his devotional service even in the body of a deer. It is therefore said in this verse, Mritam, although he died, Anu, afterwards, Na Mrita Janmanu Smritir Itaravat, he did not forget the incidents of his past life as others forget them. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Karmani Nirdahati Kintuja Bhakti Bhajam. It is proved herein that due to the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is never vanquished. Due to his willful neglect of devotional service, a devotee may be punished for a short time, but he again revives his devotional service and returns home back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यैश्वरं। हरिः ओम् तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. Translation once again. At the time of death, the king saw that the deer was sitting by his side exactly like his own son, and was lamenting his death. Actually, the mind of the king was absorbed in the body of the deer, and consequently, like those bereft of Krishna consciousness, he left the world, the deer and his material body, and acquired the body of a deer. However, there was one advantage. Although he lost his human body and received the body of a deer, he did not forget the past incidents of his life. So this is a very, very nice example coming from straight from the scriptures, a very, very nice incident which proves how the living entity, while exercising his free will or in the journey of exercising his free will, associates with various kinds of people, various kinds of species, and acquires various modes of material natures, and then ends up in a good species or a bad species accordingly. Karanam gunasangasya sadasad yoni janmasu. Bharat Maharaj, of course, in the previous discussions we heard that he was at the level of the bhava, and the Bhagavad Gita says, Neha bhikramanasosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even little bit of devotional service, if we have accumulated, that is never destroyed, no matter what it is, no matter what we do. There is no such thing as destruction of devotional service. Once done, it is an eternal credit. Of course, there are few things which forces the sadhaka to not be able to access the results or the fruits of devotional service. The willful neglect of devotional service, or aparadhs done in the scope of devotional service, or aparadhs done to the other devotees, all this will break the lay, or all this will break the momentum of devotional service. For example, when somebody is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Nishtha means lay. While chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when the mind is getting focused at the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that's called lay. There are various things due to which the lay breaks. The lay can break due to tiredness of the body. The lay can break due to the chitter chatter nature of the mind, thinking this, thinking that. The lay can also break due to willful neglect of the japa. while chanting, one is also scrolling few things. So that is a more serious offense. However, no matter what we do, it doesn't take away our japa from us. It is always there with us. If someone has achieved the lay, if one is, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, has made a nishthavan lay, that means is at the stage of nishtha, where their mind is really not wandering when they are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then the situation is such that as soon as they hear the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they helplessly get focused on it. There's nothing else which they can do at that time. For example, some people have this innate tendency, and I am speaking from personal example, whenever any kind of music is played, I cannot control myself other than fully getting absorbed in it. It's very difficult for me. When I was in my school or hostel or other places, there were many people who used to play music and study, but I couldn't do that. Because when the music is being played, I can't study. So I hope that someday I'll attain this same tendency as far as Hare Krishna Mahamantra is concerned. When Hare Krishna should be going on, I should not be able to do anything other than hearing Hare Krishna. So even if I'm not able to do that, even while chanting, due to the tiredness of the body or due to the mind not being in control or due to willfully neglecting, no matter what is done, the devotional service is not taken away. However, it really helps a sadhaka to progress further and experience higher and higher stages of Krishna consciousness, experience deeper realizations, render better devotional service if the layer is not broken. However, if we commit aparadhs for a significant amount of time, one is not able to access. Suppose one has hit the stage of nishtha or one has hit the stage of asakti. The challenge is to maintain that state. However, when some aparadh happens, then one is not able to access that state. That doesn't mean that the bhakti which he has done or the devotional credits which he has acquired at that stage is gone. This was very nicely explained by His Grace Vamsivadan Prabhu by giving the example of a frozen bank account. Even if we do some serious aprad or some Vaishnava aprad or some Nam aprad or some Seva aprad, for some time it will appear that we have become a neophyte. We are not able to chant, we are not able to control our senses, we are not able to speak properly, we are not able to hear properly anything. It may appear that I've lost all my devotional credits, my devotional Bhakti Lata creeper has been plugged off and it has been cut into pieces and put in some sabzi and finished. That kind of feeling may come, but the reality is that it is not lost. I'm just not able to access that stable state of bhakti for some time. We read the example of who was that sage who cursed Garuda? Saubhari Muni. Even Saubhari Muni did a serious Vaishnava aparadh due to which he actually left his devotional service for quite a good amount of time, ended up marrying 15 daughters of the son of King Mandhata. But ultimately he also went back to Godhead. Saubhari Muni also goes back to Godhead, we'll read, when he realizes his mistake. He realizes his mistakes and he repents it very, very sincerely, seriously, and Krishna gives him another chance. He again regains his pure devotional service, and all his 50 wives also follow him. Not only he, but all his wives also, they go back home, back to God. That is sovereignty. So in no circumstance the Krishna consciousness is ever lost. However, there are some ups and downs in Krishna consciousness which teach the sadhaka a very, very important lesson. The sadhaka becomes very, very careful. That, okay, this discount I will never take again, or this mistake I will never do again. He learns. Krishna makes them learn in various ways. So Bharat Maharaj's incident is like that, where he has started to think at one point of time that if I'm not intense in my bhakti, and even if I'm not fully focused in my Krishna consciousness, still it's all right. And it's okay to look down in the valley and see some deer fawn floating in the you know, water, and then it's okay for me to go down and pick up that deer, and it's okay for me to do petting to that deer and keep me and spend all my time with the deer. It's okay. So this okay attitude Krishna doesn't like. He wants everything to be fast, he wants everything to be very intense, and he wants everything to be exclusively centered around him. Krishna wants us to perform exclusive devotional service. Krishna wants us to take full shelter of him. And he wants us to do this increasingly. Today I have taken shelter in this capacity, tomorrow I should take shelter in another capacity. The reason why Krishna demands this kind of exclusive shelter in an increasing capacity, because he is completely, helplessly desiring to see us back again in the spiritual world with him. He has it's very difficult to describe the mind of Krishna, but he wants us more than what we want to go back. So therefore he would demand that be exclusive, don't waste time. Be intense, don't waste time. And that is why messengers of Lord Krishna, such as Jesus Christ, they say, either be cold or be warm, don't be lukewarm. Because if you are cold, Krishna has a path for you. And if you are warm, Krishna has a path for you. But if you are lukewarm, wherein neither you are warm, neither you are cold, and then there is so much free will acting, and then willful neglect and all that, that is a very, very difficult case to crack. Even Krishna becomes helpless in such cases. For such cases, really one needs beating from a personality like Srila Prabhupada from his cane. There are some disciples who actually got beaten up. And I met His Holiness Bhakti Bhushan Swami Maharaj, one of the greatest teachers of Bhagavad Gita. He told me that my spiritual life blossomed when I got beating from Prabhupada. I asked, why did you get beaten up? He said, because I was a fool. So I got beaten up. And then he recited the whole incident, how he was not very intense in his practice of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada actually came and beat him up. So we really need such people. Otherwise, it's very difficult to progress in bhakti. And Maharaj Bharat's case was something like that. Although he was at the stage of bhava, but due to some, as soon as one surrenders to Krishna, Krishna nullifies the effect of their past karma. However, in order to remove the last vestiges of enjoyer mentality from the heart of the living entity, he picks up sometimes karmic reactions from the stock, which he had earlier said that, okay, this will not act upon you. But when he sees that some vestiges are there, he picks up something from there only and operates the patient. That's why in the last verse it was said that due to some past fruitive reaction, Bharat Maharaj had suffered, and it was a fact. Bharat Maharaj, when he came at the stage of bhava, Krishna said, okay, all these reactions will not act upon you. But when he saw this lack of seriousness, he picked up from one of the stockpile which was there and he operated on him, although it was not supposed to act on him. But he used that only because Krishna helps people to understand Krishna likes to make the living entity serious. So he made him serious by giving him a deer's body. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is telling that there is a difference between Bharat Maharaj acquiring a deer's body and others acquiring the deer's body. Because Bharat Maharaj was a Jyotishmar, a person who can remember his past life by the grace of Krishna is called as a Jyotishmar. Now it is very important for people to forget their past life. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedaischa sarvai rahameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. It is very important for people to forget. Because people really want to enjoy separately from Krishna. And if they don't forget, if they are not in illusion, they'll not be able to enjoy. And then they feel more miserable. The best example is the marriage party example. In order to dance in any marriage party, people need to forget who is looking at them. And people need to forget that their clothes are clean. So therefore they need to drink, and then they will do all that dance for 1 hour, for 2 hours. Somebody else is getting married, but I am dancing like a crazy person, and then I'm floating on the road, and then people have to really ask that person to stop, and then you sit here, you eat, and then why should I eat? I should dance. So that is why when this, if we read in the second canto also, the first time when this secondary creation was done, the first creation which Brahma did after the secondary creation or the primary secondary creation was to create the 5 different kinds of illusion. Because if these 5 different kinds of illusion are not there, the living entity cannot function in this material world with a desire to do sense gratification. So therefore, people, if they remember how much struggle they went through because of the diseases, the old age, the death, and the birth, and how while they are trying to execute their sense gratificatory desires, how much the material nature beat the pulp out of them, if they remember all these things, then in this life it is very much impossible for them to enjoy. They will see the futility, the uselessness of such kind of engagement. Now, self-realization, when it comes, it should be coupled by gratitude and determination in bhakti. If one is not grateful and one is not determined to move towards Krishna, self-realization leaks out from the leaky bucket of poor remembrance of Krishna due to strong desires for sense gratification. Krishna is like a powerhouse, and all the power is coming from him. But if the conducting wire between Krishna and the socket from where we are deriving the power, if it has many short circuits, then the power will never come to us. So in order to have a short circuit free line so that we can get the entire access or the entire power, we can feel the process of Krishna consciousness, it is important for us to be determined to not commit sense gratification in the process of Krishna consciousness. And one should be very, very grateful to the experiences which Krishna is giving. One should be fully convinced that whatever he is doing, it is good for us. Just like the Nagpatnis are praying to Lord Krishna. Bhavan hi karanam tatra sarvagnyo jagadishwaraha anugraham nigraham va manasya tadvidehinaha. They are praying that, see, we don't know what is good for us, what is bad for us. Your punishment is your reward, and your mercy is also your reward. Whatever you think is good, you kindly give it to us, and we have full faith in you. So that kind of faith, if it is not there, then it is very difficult to retain the self-realization. Many times I have personal experience, I get some realizations, but because I am not grateful to Krishna, and because I am not determined in the process of bhakti, those self-realizations, I don't remember it the next day. While doing japa, sometimes I realize, oh, this is not the right thing to do, or I should not have done this, but the next day I again forget it. Because I'm not grateful, I'm not self-realized, I'm not serious. So therefore it is important for living entities to forget. Self-realization given to a person who doesn't deserve it has no value. For example, even in the case of Brahma, we see during the Brahma Vimohan Leela, as he is seeing so many forms of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu has removed, Krishna has removed the Yog Maya curtain, and when he's seeing so many Vishnu forms, and each of them coming from different universes, and each of them being worshipped separately, with separate paraphernalia, with separate Brahma, with separate Shiva, with separate other 4 Kumaras and all, Brahma or Chaturmukhi Brahma at that time was not qualified for that kind of a realization. So when he was getting it, the Bhagavatam says, or the Krishna book says, that he almost started fainting, and in a sleep-like state he came. And only when Lord Krishna pulled back the Yogamaya curtain, when he stopped his amazing display of um, his personal existence, then only he could come to his consciousness. That means self-realization or God realization should be given to people according to their qualification. Ye yatha mam prapadyate tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. One can, just like one cannot digest beyond their quota, similarly one cannot digest self-realization beyond their quota. So therefore it is important for people to forget. However, if someone does not forget, if someone has remembered their past life, that means Krishna has given them, without the mercy of Krishna, nobody can remember their past life. There was one Swami who was told in his book that just like if we try hard, we can remember what we did in the previous day. Similarly, if we try hard, we can remember what we have done in our past life also. This is a nonsense philosophy. It doesn't work like that. Until unless Krishna wants, you cannot remember what you did in your past life. Past life memory is a gift from Krishna. And Krishna gives it to only few people so that they can understand what to do next. Especially he gives it to spiritually advanced people. I was reading in the pastime of Tulsi and what was the name of that person who ended up marrying Tulsi? Jalandhar. The pastime of Tulsi and Jalandhar. So there is a conversation in the book written by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. So Jalandhar comes and he likes Tulsi and he says, I want to get married to you. And then at that time he says that, I remember what I was in my past life. I know you were also who you were in your past life. And because of this reason, both of us had to descend to the material world. I've got permission from Lord Brahma to do a Gandharva Vivah with you. And all that discussion is happening. That means both of them were Jyotishmars. They were remembering their past life. And if somebody remembers their past life, then certainly they will not do the same mistake. At the death, a person always thinks of that subject matter in which he has been engrossed during his life. According to this law, because Bharat Maharaj was always thinking of the deer, forgetting his worship of the Supreme Lord, he acquired the body of a deer. Now it is very clear the amount of bhakti which Bharat Maharaj did during his reign while being a householder, and after that, after having taken sannyas, it may be of thousands of years. And the amount of time which he may have spent would be, just taking a guess, 4 or 5 years with the deer. But the intensity or the willful neglect, according to Srila Prabhupada, which he showed in those 4 or 5 years, was good enough to cover his thousands of years of bhakti. Strictly speaking, it was not good enough to cover the thousands of years of bhakti, but Krishna decided to punish him. So that he never does this mistake again. That means even at the level of bhava, there are some chances that one may get deviated in their practice of bhakti. The more serious you get, the more serious the punishment will be. If I have kept some valuable here, and if a small 2-year child, 3-year child runs away with it, I will not punish that child. I will run behind the child, take back the valuable from him, and then do some very cute, and then probably kiss him, and then bring back my valuable. I will not punish him because I understand that he has no intelligence. However, if a grown-up man runs away with some valuable, I will not run behind with him to hug him and do cutie thing with him. I will probably beat him up and probably hand him over to the police also. Why this difference of behavior? Because one has more intelligence and one has less intelligence. So the higher intelligence you have, the more is your responsibility and the more serious is your punishment. So someone at the level of bhava, if he commits this mistake, somebody at the level of shraddha, if he makes this mistake, you know, I don't know how Krishna will treat him. But somebody at the level of bhava, if he does this mistake, it is a very, very serious punishment. It is absolutely unfair, you see, thousands and thousands of years of uninterrupted bhakti and 4 or 5 years of dear sadhana. Thousands of years of Krishna sadhana and 4 or 5 years of dear sadhana. Nobody, according to this verse, Neha Bhikrama Nasosti, this Bharat Maharaj really didn't deserve a deer's body in his next life. But Krishna made it so because he was at the bhava platform. And just like, I gave the example of a young man running away and a small child running away. Because the young man is more responsible and accountable, deserves more punishment. So Bharat Maharaj was punished by Krishna so that he may progress in his Krishna consciousness and not make the same mistake again. But because he had done thousands of years of bhakti, he did not forget his past life. Krishna gave him that discount. Okay, you made a very serious mistake, but because you are you are one of my pure devotees, so you should remember. And through you, I am teaching everybody, the whole world. Your name will come in Bhagavatam, and Vidvyas will write that you have become a deer. After that, you have become a Jal Bharat. All that will write, so that everybody takes the lesson of being very serious and sincere in the practice of bhakti. Why? Because Krishna wants us to be exclusive. Krishna wants us to be very serious. Krishna wants us and he demands it. Again, in this purport also, just like previous verses, Prabhupada is saying, due to his past activities in devotional service, he became determined to finish his devotional service even in the body of a deer. Now, this means that bhakti is never interrupted by any material circumstances. Sometimes not sometimes, most of the times, mind will cheat, saying that, okay, due to this reason, I'm not able to do, due to that reason, I'm not able to do bhakti. But there is no material circumstances in which one cannot do bhakti. One can, please the Supreme Lord in the body of an elephant also, like Gajendra did. One can attract the mercy of the Lord in the body of a lizard also, like King Nriga did. And one can please the Lord in the body of a deer also, like Maharaj Bharat did. Therefore, karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. It is proved herein that due to the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is never vanquished. Due to the willful neglect of devotional service, a devotee may be punished for a short time. Who administers this punishment? It is not the laws of nature. It is Krishna. This punishment was not according to the laws of nature. It was personally administered by Krishna, but by the mercy of Krishna, the devotee again revives his devotional service and returns back home, back to Godhead. In this way, Krishna revives his eternal associates, his eternal devotees, by giving them a strong lesson so that they never look back again. They give up the entire taste or the last vestiges of the enjoyer mentality and never become willfully neglectful in the practice of Krishna consciousness. I'm just seeing if there is any other point which requires a discussion. Okay. So here I conclude my discussion. If there are any questions or comments, they are welcome. Why it is given? Who gives? See, your question is if one cannot digest, generally it is not given also. What Brahma saw in that wonderful display of the various forms of Lord Vishnu, that is very rare also. Krishna does it sometimes with his devotees to make them understand that yes, they are not at a particular level. Sometimes devotees cannot walk, but Krishna makes them run just to make them understand that they are not qualified to run and they should first learn to walk nicely. So, in order to teach such kind of lessons, Krishna does various things. Generally, it is ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyam. 99.99% cases, to the degree to which you surrender and advance, to that degree, Krishna will reveal himself to you, and his revelation is called as self-realization. There is no meaning of self-realization without Krishna realization. So that is the meaning of self-realization here. 99.99% cases that only happens. But sometimes Krishna does cross his, he is free, the lawmaker is always above the law, and he chooses to, give a full dose to someone and then make them realize, okay, they are not anywhere, and then help them to understand their true position or to the true place where they stand. Sometimes it is seen, even in Chaitanya Leela we see, when Lord Chaitanya is performing some pastimes, the living entities or the Jiva Tattvas or the devotees who are around him, they experience such kind of happiness that they cannot handle it. It has been, we read in the Chaitanya Leelas, the devotees, they don't eat, sleep, drink for 2-3 days. They forget who they are. They forget that who is their family. Sometimes some devotees during Sankirtan, I heard that they started uprooting trees. They developed some mystic potencies during the Sankirtan. They started uprooting the trees and dancing like this. Some devotees became lighter than the lightest and chanting Hare Krishna, they were dancing on the trees and flying in the air. But when uprooting of trees started, that was a problem. So then the Chaitanya Sankirtan had to stop there. So that is a kind of self-realization which is only possible, or God realization, which is only by the mercy of Krishna and the association of your devotees of Krishna. Now, it is not that these devotees, they got that kind of effect throughout their life. No. Once in a while they tasted it, and then whole life they kept hankering for it, just to realize how great is the association of Lord Chaitanya. Similarly, the gopis, the kind of association which they had with Krishna, everybody was hankering for it all the time, just to realize that why did Krishna go away from Braja in the first place? Just to help them intensify their Krishna consciousness and remember them more. These are the reasons why Krishna sometimes gives you a full dose of his experience. He will help you to experience. This is very common in all stages of bhakti, basically, but very common in the beginning stages where you get a full dose, full blow of Krishna conscious experience according to your state of existence. And then you are left hankering for it for a long time, and then you are somehow surviving. And then again, when you are completely in a doldrum phase, Krishna again gives you that experience, and then again you pull it out for some time. That's how it goes. This is my understanding. Yes. So we have to pray to Krishna. We have to pray to Krishna that now I am feeling this desperation in my practice of Navavidha Bhakti, be it Japa or be it Kirtan or be it book reading or be it book distribution. Presently I am feeling this desperation. Oh my dear Lord, please help me to always remember this desperation. So that next time when I pick up my Japmala or next time when I do this seva, I should have the same mood, I should have the same desperation, I should have the same gratitude and the same eagerness to serve you. However, it's very difficult to have the same mood or same desperation when someone is conditioned by the modes of material nature, when someone is committing aparadhs throughout the day without even realizing that they are committing aparadhs. So therefore, it is easy to hit the Uttam Adhikari platform. It is easy to hit the Asakti, Nishtha, even Prema platform, but it is difficult to sustain that. Once you start sustaining it, that means you have become a perfected pure devotee. And that is the goal of life. Since we are following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, we are all pure devotees. Everybody who's sitting here is a pure devotee. But the goal of life is to become a perfected pure devotee, and that is not easy. For that, one really needs to become humble. Until unless one is thoroughly humble, it is not possible to become stabilized. Sthai bhakti, it is called as. It is very difficult to get that sthai bhava, a sthai prema, a sthai nishtha. However, Krishna will make us realize that, see, this is the great devotional wealth which is waiting for you. You are trying to run behind that sense object. See what you are missing. Wow. It was very nice. But I'll again go for that sense object. Then again, Krishna will beat you, teach you in so many ways. Again, he will give you a taste. Look at that devotee. He's so sincere. You want to be like him? Yeah. So for many, many times, he will give us such experience, and then one day we'll realize that yes, it's useless to run behind that sense object. I want to become like that. So that moment, when we decide that now I will not look back, is that moment when the sthai bhav starts getting created. So we should, from our side, we should try to come to that point of no return as quickly as possible. Otherwise, this deer pastime and elephant pastime and everything will keep continuing. Does it answer your question? Anything else, anyone? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Oh my God, there was so much time. 9:23. 7 minutes are left. We could have taken some points.